Alright, welcome back to Trailer Trash Talks Hurricane League Fantasy Talk. This is our Week 9 review, Week 10 preview show. Now, before we get into any of the matchups or any of the previews, I want to explain real quick what's been going on. Last week we had, I think as I told y'all, a family emergency to do with Mimi. Wasn't able to focus on things, I had more important shit going on, right? So then this week, I planned on having all this shit put out by Thursday or Friday. I have a co-manager that works, one of the department managers at the store. He was out with potentially COVID for like 10 days, right? So he comes back, and then this selfish prick, I find out on Friday, is out with a MRSA infection, right? So I'm having to work all of his fucking shifts. Like the nerve of this dude cannot be overstated, right? But I hope he's fine and everything. But really, like, I was supposed to have the weekend off. There was supposed to be shit going on. Anyway. So, yeah, that's what's pushed me back on these videos. But I'm hoping this week I'll be able to get another guest involved and we'll get it out in more of a timely manner. So we're going to jump into Week 9 now. We're going to look at Justin and Dusty real quick. Justin won with a score of 121 to 96. Even though he got a total of under 4 points from his quarterback and RB2. Dusty's had a couple of rough weeks in a row. Justin got 33 from Tyreek and 17 from Jerick McKinnon. Those were his big scores, and I mean, that was really all he needed. We have Nick and Jordan. Nick beat Jordan by 35 points here this past week. He got 73 points between Josh Allen and Devontae Adams. And Jordan got fucked by Lamar, Derrick Henry, and James Conner last week. So it was a rough one. One of maybe the biggest outlier of the week was Blake and Brian. Blake got the W by over 41 points. Brian made the questionable decision of starting JaMycal Hasty, and then he also only got 3 points from Jared Cook. You don't win a whole lot like that. And then finally, we had me and Mitchell. Mitchell got a 34-point victory. Look, I ran into the mistake of overlooking my opponent. And also my roster is still ravaged with injuries. I had Justin Jackson broke his fucking kneecap before, during warm-ups. But no, it's fine, I mean, I overlooked Mitchell. Mitchell put up a good game. I can't wait for the rubber match, though, because I'm sure it will be much more like the first match whenever my team is healthy. But good win, Mitchell. Good win. And I didn't put your graph on this video. I'm having to do this fucking quick this morning, and that's going to drastically lengthen the process if I do that. So if you did not send that out on the group chat, why don't you go ahead and do that? And then next week, like I said, we're assuming that the fucking MRSA guy is back at work. Next week should be much smoother. All right, so we're going to jump right into Week 10. Before we do, in case anyone missed it, I want to point out Justin dropped his first-round draft pick, Mr. Ezekiel Elliott. Why? I guess because he had 2 rough games in a row. Justin dropped his heaviest investment on his roster. In turn, Brian picks up Ezekiel Elliott. So we could have just seen a drastic power shift as far as the bottom of the bracket is concerned. Brian could have even done enough to dig himself out of the fucking, shit bowl bracket. So good job, Justin. I think we were all waiting for the choke artist to reemerge, and this could be it. This could be it. You're, what are you, like 4-5 right now? 5-4? I don't have it in front of me. Well, I mean, that might have literally pushed you from being in the top half to the bottom half, giving up on your boy like that. And then the other big thing I saw is Brian dropped Mike Davis with the return of Christian McCaffrey. Well, the return of Christian McCaffrey lasted all of a calendar week, and Blake somehow had the wherewithal to pick Mike Davis up to handcuff to McCaffrey. So kudos to Blake. Great job. It looks like he's serious about not sucking the rest of the year. But I guess only time will tell. All right, so right into the previews. The first game we're going to look at is Mitchell and Justin. You know, this one's an easy call for Mitchell. Justin has at least 5 slots filled with backups this week, including starting tight end Dallas Goedert in his flex spot. That seems questionable, but yeah, so Justin's projected for all of like 114 points or some shit. Mitchell, I do want to point out, I was looking through, during your 4-game win streak here, you've played a lot of teams on what we could argue would not be their finest weeks. And it looks like you're continuing that trend with Justin, so we'll see how far, I guess, you're able to ride that one out. Then we're going to go to our next matchup, someone that's had virtually the opposite luck of Mitchell, and Jordan. He's playing Blake this week. This one, when I look at it, is a little bit more of a toss-up. I mean, both of these teams certainly have their shitty qualities. But I did take the under on 4.5 wins for Blake on last week's episode, so I'm going to pick Jordan in this matchup. Best of luck to both of you. I think you're both headed to the shit playoffs anyway, so, you know, by all means, get a few wins. Nick and Brian. This is another one that looks close, but just looking through the matchups, I'm going to lean Nick on this one. I do think Brian is going to potentially start a run maybe as soon as next week, and dig himself maybe out of the bottom bracket, at least up to, say, the 5 spot where he's virtually safe. And then the last matchup, me and Dusty. For no other reason than the fact that I don't lose twice in a row and I have a history this season of bouncing back after a loss, I'm taking myself. And that was, you know, an easy one. Even though I'm not at full strength, I'm going to take my team, and I'm confident in that. Now, before we go, I assume you all know we had an election recently. And we won. We absolutely won. Sports gambling is legal in Louisiana now. That will happen soon, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting into some gambling picks. So I picked 4 for today. I'm picking San Francisco to cover the, I think I saw 9.5 points against New Orleans. I'm going to take Baltimore with the -7 points. I'm going to pick Carolina to cover today versus Tampa. And then I'm taking the Chargers. They're actually the dog today by 1.5. I'm going to take them and the over on that one. I like the Chargers. I think the Dolphins and Tua are, I don't know why they're favored, actually. But I think the over-under on that one's like 41, 42. I think that one's going to go over that. But anyway, I hope this video does find you all well. I miss you. I hope to get the rest of you on here before the end of the season. We need to try and figure out the logistics of that. But yeah, I hope you all have a great Sunday, and suck my dick.